How will you break down the core of audit preparation?
Simple as that, right as it is from as the ICAI study. But
Yeah, we have conceptual clarity, then we have memorization. But is that sufficient? Because I often hear that when people say, I'm studying it today, I'm memorizing it today, I'm understanding it today, I am memorizing it today, but immediately the next second when I close the book, I'm not able to recall it. Or the next day, I'm not able to recall it. Just plain repetition sufficient, or volume of practice, that is the difference in the questions that we practice, like different variety of questions. The more that we practice, the more volume of questions that we practice. Is that also important, or is just plain repetition of whatever we know enough?
there are two angles to this. Provided that you have studied at least 70% of the syllabus.
With ICAI standard words, so what would you say for check the numbers?
Okay, this is one of the toughest things to remember in audit.
For question practice or analyzing a question, you talk about three things, correct? Writing, and then using book language, and then matching the expectations of the examiner, that is ICAI keywords. Which one do you think students almost always skip, and why do you think that happens? Welcome to Like a Pro series, where we break down complex topics to make you, the student, master them like a pro. Today's first episode, we have how to study auditing like a pro. And for that, we have our expert, Venkat sir, with us today. Hi, Venkat.
Hi, Amritha.
Welcome to the Like a Pro podcast.
Okay.
So, let's talk about auditing. But before we get into strategy, what is you talk about the definition of auditing and how, if one understands that definition, that is the key to understanding the entire subject or the entire topic.
Yeah.
So, can we elaborate a little bit on that?
If you take up the definition of audit, right, whether the financial statements are free from any material misstatements and does it give a true and fair view. So if we just take that one line, right, so what are we actually looking at here? We are looking if the financial statements are free from any material misstatements. There are two words here, right? So three words: financial statements, material, and misstatements. Right? Anything representing the company, what the company does, what the company has, is in the financial statements. They call it assertion. The management's representations are called assertions, and all the assertions put together come your financial statements, right? So whatever in the financial statement, is there any misstatement, and whether if it is material. Okay, what we have to certify is whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements. So our entire goal is to just check if there are misstatements and misrepresentation, and the financial statements give a true and fair view. Okay, you cannot put 10 lakhs as debt when it is technically going to be repaid the 2nd of April, right? 31st March, the balance sheet reads 10 lakh as debt, which is material if the company is small enough. And if the company repays it on 2nd April, you have to have a disclosure immediately, right? The debt is being repaid and the company's overall situation is different as on the next day of the financial statements. So does the financial statement give a true and fair view? This is like the entire company's share value depends on the value of the financial statements. Based on the financial statements representation goes the share price. Based on the share price and the information that the financial statement goes, the stakeholders take decisions, and based on the decisions, the company can grow or not, right? So it's a make or break situation, and our job is to check the assertions and whether those have any material misstatements. That's the job as the auditor. So why are we talking about this definition? Is look at everything, every concept that you go with this purview. Your main job here is to check if there are any material statements. So when you take that lens, things like start making sense very easily. It's like the golden rules, right? SA 200 audit definition is like the golden rule for auditing. Quite simple.
It's like the guidebook.
Yeah, one line definition, like guide to what
Auditing.
Yeah, exactly that.
How will you break down the core of audit preparation?
Before that, with auditing, right? My personal experience, I have a story to share here.
Okay.
During my intermediate days, the coaching center or whatever the academy that I studied in screwed up auditing, or at least they put me in a delusion that auditing is just conceptual understanding and like knowing things. In the class, it seemed very easy and very relatable. But when I wrote a test, I got a reality check wherein I scored 20 something, the
Oh,
full test.
okay.
Okay, that was in April. Okay,
Okay.
my exam was in May.
Hmm.
Okay, I scored 20. So that was when I realized we've been underprepared and we didn't even know it.
Hmm.
That's the importance of test, of course. That's when it struck me how I had to like decode how audit is being prepared. Back then, there were not many YouTube channels or sources to go for. But I somehow got my hands on one paper, past paper. Okay,
Okay.
so what I found out simple was that where how is ICAI awarding marks? ICAI award is awarding marks where the keywords, the headings, the language is similar or almost the same to ICAI study
Study
material.
material.
I found out just that one insight from one past paper. Okay, that I found on the internet. Okay, through
Okay.
googling and everything.
Okay.
Okay, then and I also found areas there where the concept is right. The student has written like almost the answer is like if you like tell it in literal sense, it's the same as what is in the ICA book, but it's in different keywords, different book language, basically own language. Okay,
Okay.
but the examiner has given him like 1 out of 5 or something,
Oh,
but the answer is almost correct.
okay.
So that was when it struck me. Like when I sat down and did this for like one full day. I wasted a day almost, but this was a very valuable lesson back then. So that's when I found out, okay, like how do examiners correct their papers normally? Your exam paper in the right side probably, and the suggested answer key, okay,
Exactly.
in the left side. Okay, the examiner sees if your keyword matches with the keyword in the suggested answer matches with the
Answer that you've
answer
written.
paper. Okay, if not, you don't get marks. It's simple as that. And where is the suggested answer source? I
In
see
the
study
study
material.
material.
It's almost 99.99% from the
Ditto.
ICA study material, no change.
Yeah.
Probably 1 point less or 1 point more, depending on the mood swing of the answer. Okay, it happens. Sometimes it happens. But yeah, so what is the wise thing for me to do? By that time, I had complete conceptual clarity. Okay, that was also a myth. I'll tell you about that later. But by the time I knew what was what, but for me to score marks, I needed to write as it is from the study material and also write in the book language, not just the keywords, the entire verbatim thing. Right? I had to write it almost the same at least.
Correct.
That was like a game changer. I did that.
Mm.
I literally studied only for 5 days. Again, I sat down again, full 5 days, 12 to 14 hours, like sleepless nights because I was giving both groups.
Mm.
Audit looked like something that would like break my attempt. So I spent 5 days. My parents thought I was crazy because I spent like 14 hours, 16 hours. Like I was shit scared about auditing. Okay. I thought I was going to fail it, but I took 5 full days.
Mm.
I did all the essay chapters. For now, if you put it audit documentation, audit evidence, audit strategy, then now like I'm just matching the chapters that were there and now. Okay, and their completion interview. Okay, I just did these chapters, and of course, I did some parts of this threads of independence and stuff. That was back then in another chapter. Okay, I just did these 5 lessons. Okay, for 5 days. It did not take lesson per day. It took more for audit evidence and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
I spent 5 days, 14 hours. Okay. I wrote another test.
Okay.
I scored 47.
Oh,
In the
okay.
main, and I stopped studying because it was April 15 something. Okay.
Ah,
I had reached the point where I have to revise the rest,
yeah,
or I'm screwing up both groups just for this one paper.
exactly.
I stopped after those 5 days. I stopped. But it's not just 5 days, 5 into 14, which means somewhere more than 60 hours something, right?
Exactly.
So it's a valuable preparation.
Yeah.
I had it started in 5 days, but this was because I was sitting and doing that research.
Hmm.
Okay. In the main exam, I got 48 in auditing. One of my
Close
other
enough.
yeah, enough. That was actually a graceful mark. The paper was a bit hard.
Okay.
Okay, one of my friend who scored exceptionally well in all the other papers scored only 22 in the main exam. He was with the same academy as
Okay.
I was, but he scored somewhere 80 in advanced accounts.
Oh,
but he was not able to pass in audit because of this key thing. But conceptually, he knows every essay in and out, just like I did. Okay, we sat down and like discussed essays, and we are passionate about how things work, because tomorrow we are all going to be auditors, right?
Auditors.
So not just tomorrow, just if we just pass this exam, we can start working in an audit firm. So it's just 2 months away from
Correct.
that dream. So that's what we were thinking, and we were passionately discussing auditing and studying. So conceptual, we thought conceptual clarity was enough, but it wasn't. When I passed, my entire academy friends, right, all of them started asking
How did you clear audit?
how to do this. Okay, since then I've been giving this template. Okay, then I started focus. I'll tell you the highest marks we had for audit. Okay, I'll come from the highest, 86
Oh,
auditing. Okay, the second one is 79.
okay.
We have 78.
Okay.
After 78, we have 74. Then in 73, I have almost 4 people. I'm not even joking. I can get your marks, each and everything. Okay. Then I have 71s. 60s, I've stopped counting. Like 60s is, we have a lot of 60s. Okay.
Okay.
And of course, people who have not passed auditing for 8 attempts have passed auditing with us. It's not just with focus or without focus. It's just the simple core principle of how to pass auditing. Okay. Yes, the how to study auditing, how to understand auditing is simple. Just verify if the financial statements are free from any material misstatements, and whether the financial statements give a true and fair view. It's as simple as that. If you just apply that concept to every other thing that you audit, right? Every other element. That's how auditing goes. The entire subject of auditing, right? It starts from when you take up a client and till you submit the report. And it also covers of how you will have to take up a continuing client. So the entire journey is the entire auditing subject, right?
Correct.
And apart from that, you have chapters where you audit different entities, bank, other various entities. This is auditing. Quite literally, put this is auditing. Okay. I'll map it more. I think we are deviating a little bit, but what was your question again?
No, I just no. Your story actually gave us base to understand what the core preparation strategy of audit should be actually, and how you figured it out by yourself. But here we are giving it to students through your experience.
Yeah, simple as that. Right as it is from, as the ICAI study material. But here's what most students like take it in their ego. This is like a CBSE mindset that I was also from CBSE. Okay, so in CBSE, you're told not to memorize.
Exactly.
So when it comes to naturally here, right, you don't memorize, and you eventually fail. That's or you score very less. Okay, you score very less than you deserve. Okay,
Correct.
but I'll tell you why students should memorize auditing. Okay, and also how to memorize and everything. But why students should memorize is tomorrow you are going to be a chartered accountant. You are not going. You are going to be a chartered accountant, right? The client will come to you and ask problems, not provisions. Okay.
Correct.
So when they are going to ask problems, right, sir, I'm doing this transaction. So are we? What is the exposure here? That's going to be the simple thing. Correct. It will involve FEMA, it will involve GST, it will involve income tax, and how will you check this? So when you are going to audit something, this transaction does this give a true and fair view? And if you are going to check for material misstatements, right? How will you check it? Like, whether there will be FEMA, whether there will be GST, and you cannot refer and tell. Okay, you are supposed to have everything in mind so you can connect the dots. You have to remember the dots for you to connect. Correct. That's as simple as what how I can put it. Why you should memorize. Correct. Okay, and the easiest way to memorize, right, is to first understand it. Okay.
Very true.
People think memorizing when I this is something that I've counted a lot. I tell them they have to remember keywords. They stop understanding the concept. They just jump to memorizing. Only if you understand, you will be able to like remember the keyword and write like the book language, right?
This is very apparent in one specific topic that even you also keep speaking about this topic a lot. There's this taboo around inherent risk that people keep
I'll
speaking.
give you an example on the definition. Okay, where memory alone is not enough, and where conceptual understanding will only help you memorize. Okay, so I'll give you the laptop. Okay, just read this green area.
Inherent risk is the susceptibility of an assertion about a class of transaction account balance or disclosure to a misstatement that could be material, either individually or when aggregated with other misstatements before consideration of any related controls.
Okay, this is one of the toughest things to remember in auditing.
Exactly.
Okay, but if you understood this properly, it'll be cakewalk. I'll just tell you how you should be remembering this.
Okay.
Inherent risk is the susceptibility of an assertion.
Okay.
About a class of transaction, account balance, disclosure to misstatement. Okay, assertion about what? Okay,
Okay.
assertion is a representation.
Okay.
Representation of what? Class of transaction, account balance, and disclosure.
Disclosure.
Okay.
Okay.
To what? A misstatement. Representation of a misstatement that could be material. What is our role?
Auditor.
To check material misstatement.
Yeah.
So misstatement that could be material, either individually or when aggregated. அதாவது like meaning if it individually just one transaction or when clubbed in a pattern like 2 to 3 transactions put together, it is completely material only when clubbed together. That is individually is just one transaction. When aggregated is like 2 to 3 transaction or more transaction put together. Okay, with other misstatement before consideration of any related controls. Okay, so when there is the risk that misstatement will occur before consideration of any controls. Without that is a system proof, right?
Okay.
So only the internal control is weak that you are not able to identify
such risk.
misstatements.
Yeah.
Okay, that control is weak enough that a misstatement will not be identified. Where in the class of assertion, in the assertion, which is class of transaction, account balance, presentation of the financial statement, and that should be material. Okay, and the inherent risk. What is the risk here? That we are suspicious, the susceptibility. Okay, so let's put it. We are going reverse.
Yeah.
You got it right.
Yeah.
So the only way to remember this or to understand this is
to go reverse.
Okay, inherent risk, the susceptibility of an assertion or transaction class of
to a class of transaction, accountables, and preparation of financial statements.
Material, either individually
or in
aggregated with other misstatements. Okay,
when before control of
before consideration of any related controls. Okay,
consideration
it's as simple as this. And if you note this, the most important 3 word here is before consideration of any related control. Okay, so you can just cut down a lot in the between. Susceptibility that there is a misstatement in this transaction and that will not be found in the internal control. It's as simple as that. Okay, but only if you remember this, like understand this, right, you'll be able to memorize this. If you just go on doing susceptibility, I don't think you'll. No one will. But when you like divide this and understand, right, there is a lot of understanding work here to do. You can't just go on. It's not plain memorization. Plain memorization. If you like understood this and remember, right,
it's very easy actually.
You were able to say that.
Exactly, I'm able to remember it right now.
1 or 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But if you had just spent without trying to understand, it will.
It'll take some more time.
Yeah. You can actually enjoy auditing. Okay, that is the point here. So I'll tell you something. Risk of material misstatement, right? We can divide that into 2. Okay, inherent risk, control risk. Okay. So when inherent risk is, imagine water coming through a pipe. Okay. And you have a filter. Okay. Inherent risk is the water, right? The water that comes through the pipe. Okay. Will anyway be contaminated. Okay. Inherently, it is going to be contaminated before any consideration of controls. Before the internal controls, before it comes to the filter. The filter. Okay. Before any, it is going to be contaminated. Okay. What is control risk? Even after considering controls, that is, even after it goes through a filter, it is still going to be contaminated. It's as simple as this, right?
Yes.
If you understood that, you'll remember. But if you just go on blind memorization, you'll definitely not remember. But if you just understood this and wrote, okay, before consideration of any control, if there is going to be any misstatement, it is called
susceptibility.
No, if you wrote like this on your own language, I'll tell you the definition right now.
Okay.
Before consideration of any control, if there is any material misstatement, the risk of this thing happening is called inherent risk. The definition is correct, right? Whatever I said.
It is correct.
But ICAI will not give you marks. Because you are expected to replicate the book. So if I have to get marks, I'll have to write inherent risk is the susceptibility of the assertion, class of transaction, account balance, presentation to a financial statement that could be material. That could be material. How material? whether individually
Individual
or
or
in aggregated
aggregated.
with other misstatements. Okay.
Before
Consideration of any related controls.
controls.
Only if you write this way, you're going to get marks. It's as simple as this.
Correct.
Okay. So for this, you'll have to remember the keywords. We have the study material. I'll put the link in the description if you want to. We have a highlighted study material where things that you have to memorize completely, or like memorize and say write as it is. Right. That will be in complete green.
Green.
And whatever you will have to write, at least 60 to 70% will be in yellow.
Okay.
There will be areas where it will be in full yellow, but the keywords alone will be marked in
Green.
Okay. If students are going to take up auditing, I prefer they study from the ICAI study material. I'll show you in one RTI why they should pick up the ICAI study material.
Okay.
And also, if they take up the study material, right, it'll be in full yellow. The keywords will be marked in green.
Green.
Keywords they'll have to write as the same word.
Okay.
But for the thing, right, the rest
The
of the
yellow.
thing, they'll have to write 60 to 70%. For that,
Okay.
they'll have to like continuously try to replicate that. And while they try, they'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have conceptual clarity. Then we have memorization.
Okay.
But is that sufficient? Because I often hear that when people say, I'm studying it today, I'm memorizing it today, I'm understanding it today, I'm memorizing it today, but immediately the next second when I close the book, I'm not able to recall it. Or the next day, I'm not able to recall it. Or 2 days or 3 days later, when I try to look at that concept, it seems like completely Greek and Latin.
This is a problem that I faced as well, like everybody
Faces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're all human. Okay. Two things about this. Okay. If you try to memorize it once, if you study it once, be it for any sum paper while you are solving it once as well, and be it for any theory paper. I'll put it this way: how much percentage can you get it right the next time you're solving it after studying once, right? If you study once, the percentage of thing that you can replicate it is going to be around 60%.
Okay.
Okay, if you like study it once, you'll only be able to replicate 60%.
Okay.
So if you study it once, overall you'll get only 40. The entire syllabus, if you study once, you'll definitely get 40 even in a difficult paper.
Okay.
But if you study the everything once and the important parts twice, you'll be able to replicate the important ones 75%. Okay, so you'll be able to score 50ish. Okay, when you are able to do it again, right? With repetition, there is muscle memory, and with muscle memory, you get the subconscious mind that on the exam hall you'll be able to remember or recall those, and you'll be able to write it. When that happens, you'll be able to remember. So the key to remembering is repetition.
Okay.
Studying once, first time you are preparing for audit, right? You take up the study material and you start studying, right? It'll take you 14 to 16 days. Or put it in hours, it'll take you 100 to 120 hours.
Okay.
More than that is basically procrastination, or you're stuck somewhere that you need help. Okay, 100 to 120 hours is a decent first time thing. Okay, when you're doing it again, I'm talking about the 3 months. Okay, when you have less than 3 months, the first time it should take 100 to 120 hours. The second time you're that preparing, right, it should take around 60 to 80 hours overall. It should only take that. If you are doing it in the 3 month span, and when the third time you do, right, you'll be able to do that in 1.5 days. Like the entire 1.5 days.
Okay.
And remember one thing, auditing has a lot of short-term memory. Weightage for you scoring depends a lot on
your short-term memory.
So for every paper, right, all of your preparation is destined or like should be structured for the 1.5 days. How well are you able to recollect or prepare on the 1.5 day time frame, right? Whatever your preparation you're doing, are you able to prepare during that 1.5 day? Are you able to revise the entire syllabus? By revise, I don't mean just turn the page.
Skim through.
No.
Don't skim through.
Yeah. I want you to study like almost 70% of the entire syllabus in 1.5 days. For that, you have to do 2 times revision. This is one. Okay, how do I revise, or how do I have a strong revision strategy? There is this strategy called 147. Okay. When you study it today, revise it within the next 24 hours. That is 1 day. And whatever you studied on that 1 day, right? Revise it again in 4 days. And do that again in the 7th day. This time frame, you will at least be able to recollect something. Okay. The memory thing will be little higher, and it will take you very less time. Okay. Okay. You can either do this or just with intensity. I don't do 147. Few students, I suggested this. This worked for a few students. Okay. But what worked for me is intensity. Take 114-day thing and finish it, and after that, take it up again the next month and do it again. Okay, and in the 1.5 days, we will take it. That's the strategy that I or most people used to recall it strongly.
Okay. So is just plain repetition sufficient, or volume of practice, that is the difference in the questions that we practice, like different variety of questions, the more that we practice, the more volume of questions that we practice, is that also important, or is just plain repetition of whatever we know enough?
There are two angles to this. Uh, Provided that you have studied the at least 70% of the syllabus or whatever mark you studied, right?
Okay.
A category or whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
I have this quote from Bruce Lee.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of a person who knows 1,000 kicks.
Hmm.
I'm afraid of somebody who knows one kick and has practiced it
1,000
1,000
times.
times. It's the similar here. For you to build a muscle memory, you have to do repetition of the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. Given that, given this strategy, there is a chance of this backfiring. Okay.
Okay.
Not that the strategy is weak.
Hmm.
This has one con. Okay. I know a student, you can take the podcast. It's in Tamil, but Kirtana. She knew the entire book A to Z. She understood it. She knows that.
Okay.
But in the exam hall, she was not able to understand or figure out what question
Is being
has
asked.
been asked. What is the answer to this question? I know the entire book, but what should I write? I say one specific answers. You cannot write the entire book. Two things, because I say one specific answers, and the second thing is you only have 3 hours. Okay, you
Correct.
cannot write 8 pages for one 5 mark question
Correct.
and ask the examiner to choose. And you
Correct.
also have to make decisions for case scenario questions, right?
Correct.
So repetition is key, but you have to go through questions.
Hmm.
Our last time we could write question bank
Hmm.
that has almost 10 attempts of questions compiled.
Okay.
The student has to like study the chapter from ICAI study material
Hmm.
and just spend 30 minutes. I'm not asking you to write.
Hmm.
If you write, it's great. But minimum that you can do is take one question,
Hmm.
take every question, first cover up the answer,
Hmm.
read the question, just visualize at least what you are going to write, what you would write.
Right.
Okay, and then like remove your hand or notebook or whatever and check if it matches.
At least if you're able to relate the concept,
Yeah,
whatever is being asked, whatever is being tested, then that is
yeah, this is a
by itself.
basic task. This will not take too much time. Okay, if you just do this will take 30 minutes per chapter.
Correct.
Big or small or whatever. Per chapter will take 30 to 1 hour. 10
Correct.
minutes to 1 hour, right?
Correct.
If you just do a small exercise, you will be able to at least the questions part of it will be sorted. So to come again, covering the book repetition is key, but you also need to do questions.
Okay. I'll just circle back to the highlighted portion, like
Okay.
the green words that you said. There's a difference between writing, the auditor should look into it, and the auditor should examine it. Correct.
Yeah, that's called book language.
That's
Yeah.
called book language. So, what I'm getting at is, why do you think that matters to an examiner, and how do you think that improves the presentation of the answer?
Okay. Two things. Why is it mandated? It matters to the examiner because ICA asked them to check so.
Okay.
And why is it important to ICA? Tomorrow you are going to be a chartered accountant. You are going to be verifying almost the listed companies' balance sheets and all the financial
Correct.
statements and stuff.
Correct.
Okay. Your work means that somebody loses their job or somebody gets paid a bonus.
Hmm.
You are verifying almost the country's destiny.
Backbone of
Yeah,
economy.
literally the back. It's not a
Correct.
joke.
I'm not
So
joking.
when you are in that spot, right, you're supposed to have a professional language for everybody to understand, and there should be a common language for them to understand. That is the number one thing why I say mandates them. Okay.
Okay.
And how do you get accustomed to this language?
Or how does it improve the answer?
It's actually is from the IC study material, right?
Yeah.
So even when you're writing case scenarios, okay, if you are able to write the words like instead of auditor should check it, you could just put it in professional terms. Auditor should examine the scenario, something like that, right? You have to rephrase it. In our manual, we have phrases where it is completely different.
Okay.
Okay, like for every word that is colloquial or casual, you will get a formal word for the ICAI thing.
Standard, according to the ICAI standard.
ICAI standard. Do you want to like go through the manual ones?
Yeah. Okay. We'll just go through it once. Okay, so I'm just taking a look at the focus manual, and we have like a guide to replace whatever wordings that we use colloquially with ICAI standard words. So, what would you say for check the numbers? What would you say for checking stuff?
Conducted a review.
Okay. What would you say for close enough?
Within acceptable limits.
Peak CA student behavior. Confusing data.
Ambiguous information.
Okay. And the auditor like took a quick look.
Did a preliminary review.
Conduct. Okay. Nice. So,
So you get the point, right?
yeah.
Whatever, yeah, this is this. I'll tell you where this will be used. First
Okay.
thing, when you don't know the answer,
Correct.
and when you're writing answers for case scenario questions, there is no standard set of answers, right?
Correct.
You should be you're supposed to get accustomed to ICA book language,
Correct.
but when you don't know, you can refer the manual, and you're supposed to just read a sentence in this language, right? It
Correct.
completely comes out professional,
Correct.
and suddenly your answer looks 10x right.
Better.
Okay, I'm not going to say you're going to get 5 out of 5 for this question, but at least
Okay.
you have a chance of
Getting
1
one,
out of 5 or
2.
framing your questions properly. Simple as that.
Correct.
Okay, there are going to be case scenario questions where you have to conclude and assess, right? So in those scenarios, this will help in framing the answers, and that is very critical.
For question practice or analyzing a question, you talk about 3 things, correct? Writing, and then using book language, and then matching the expectations of the examiner, that is
Keyword.
ICAI keywords. Which one do you think students almost always skip, and why do you think that happens?
What are the 3? Writing practice,
Writing practice,
language, and
book language, and matching keywords.
keywords. Very obvious. Sometimes the same word, like just we did, right? Might sound the same, but it's not technically the same, right?
Correct.
Students who think conceptual clarity is enough put on more emphasis on just understanding it, and don't take steps to remember what is the exact words that IC wants you to write.
Do you think maybe that happens because people underestimate audit a lot?
Yeah, they think the first time was right. Almost the attempters have already got their shots from
Correct.
ICA, but it's the first timers who not. It's basically, I have this line. Okay, until the first attempt, you are not truly a CS student. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, you should at least write a mock test to become a CS student. Okay.
Correct.
So when before since they are not accustomed to audit, or they don't know the seriousness of audit, right? They don't know how much to give importance. It's as the journey as I went through. I thought conceptual clarity was enough, but it turned out it was just step 1.
Correct.
Okay, since we are not aware of it, how do you think we'll be able to remember the keywords, or how will you know that I should remember the keywords? Somebody has to tell us, right?
Correct. Okay, you speak about how to approach a question, if there is a case scenario problem, how do we solve it? Can we do like a live question solving right now?
Sure. I'll take up our last one kit question bank.
Okay,
You will get the question here or
somewhere
somewhere in the video here.
on the
I'll
video
just
screen.
read through the question. Okay, this is a question from actual exam, May 2024. This question came. It
Okay,
was actually an easy exam, but CAB, an auditor, there is a para question.
Okay.
Just make you understand. An auditor, after the completion of a busy audit season, was occupied, okay, in assembling of a final audit files of one of his clients.
Okay,
First of all, he started preparing various documents of that client, and then kept those documents in various folders.
okay,
He was preparing documents as well as audit file in paper form because he believed that it is mandatory.
okay,
Like, you'll have to, when you're reading, you'll have to start observing. You cannot read first and then observe. Okay, since you have only 3 hours and 180 minutes, right, for 100 marks. So you have only 1.8 minutes for
every question.
1 mark. Or every mark.
Every
For
month.
every mark, you only have 1.8 minutes.
Okay.
So you cannot spend time reading separately and then observing. Okay, so here he thinks paper form is mandatory. Okay, which is not, obviously. So he could complete documentation as assembly file after 3 months of the date of audit report. You
Okay.
know where this is going
Yeah.
at this point. Generally, he retains audit file of the client for 4 years from the date of auditor's report. Check the validity of action. If you observe right, he tells three things. He prepares various documents and also the audit file at the same time. Okay, and so for somebody who has read Chapter 6 audit documentation, you would very well know that audit documentation, audit assembly of audit file happens after the date of audit report. Okay,
Correct.
and there is no actual audit work. The assembly is supposed to be clerical work, sorting, discarding, and similar work. You are not supposed to do any kind of audit. It is just assembling the file. Okay. So
Correct.
here he's been he started preparing various documents of the client. Okay.
Okay.
Which is in itself is a problem here.
Okay.
Problem number one. Okay. Then when he's preparing, he was preparing documents. He believed that he has to do it in paper form.
form.
That is print form. Okay. But it can be both in print and
Print and
digital.
digital.
Very basic. Okay. Then the another point is he completed the assembly only 3 months after the date of audit report. As per SQC 1, you have to do it within 60 days. Okay. Then he retained for 4 years. It's like a triggering question. Okay. Every line there is a
Trigger.
trigger here. Almost and almost all of the points are wrong.
Hmm.
So first, what is the answer? Let's look at the answer. What is the actual question here? Check the validity of the action. Okay.
Correct.
How does the actual answer? This is from the first answer. Okay.
Hmm.
Audit documentation may be recorded on paper or electronic thing. Okay.
Okay.
So he's going point by point. Okay. First he's talking about the form of the audit documentation. Okay. So in that he's specifically writing the exact provision from SQC1, which is in the audit study material. Okay. He writes that, and hence the view of CAB that audit should be maintained mandatorily in paper form is not correct.
Not correct.
Okay. That is his
Number one.
Point one. Okay. Then auditor shall prepare on a timely basis. Prepare audit documentation on a timely basis. Preparing sufficient and appropriate audit documentation on a timely basis helps to enhance the quality of the audit. This is exactly from the thing. Okay. Completing the basis is not proper. That is like he has to prepare the audit documentation while the audit is going on, not after the report.
Correct.
Okay. The first point, right? So it is not a proper process, and whatever is done is not valid. Number two, right? So, and the assembly of audit file, that is supposed to be done within 60 days. He writes the exact same provision, and in the given situation, whatever has happened is written the exact question, and it is not valid as per SQC 1. Okay. Then the retention of the audit file, he just combines both of it. Okay, the retention of the audit file is no shorter than 7 years from the date of auditor's report, or if later the date of group auditor's report. This is like writing this exact word, extra word, right? Date of group auditor's report. This is like, this is you telling the examiner that I have written the exact provision from the ICAI study manual. I know it. Exactly. It's not like I'm writing it in my own. This is the difference between writing from ICAI study material, that is the exact provision, and writing on your own. The date of group auditor's report, right? That signals your strength with the provisions. Okay. And he then says non-compliance of SQC1. So I'll give you a format. Okay. This is ICAI suggested answers. But how you should actually could do a better job is first write SQC1 and write each provision. Put A and then write one provision. First one was not doing it properly. Okay.
On a timely basis.
Yes, not doing it on not doing the audit documentation while doing the audit. Write the provision, then tell the scenario and tell that he is not valid.
It is not valid.
Okay. The question was validity of his action. So use the actions were not valid. Okay. Then again B point. B point was digital. Print.
Physical.
Write the provision. Write that he has been printing it and he's been thinking it's mandatory. Then say it's invalid. Okay. Then again do this thing for every other point. And you are sorted. This is how you should be doing a case scenario. This is like a very simple one, but this gives you a good idea of how you should be doing things. Okay. Hope this helps.
Yeah. Okay. What message would you like give to a student who comes to you and says that, sir, I studied it all 3 times, like you said, but still on the exam day, everything feels blank. I'm not able to remember anything.
See, this is like a very common scenario that I go through every single attempt. Okay. All the students who have scored well or studied well, right? Once didn't study, they're still studying and they know that they won't remember anything, so they wouldn't have a problem having a self doubt and everything. But the ones who have not studied, sorry, the ones that have actually studied, right, they'll call me on the day of exam. The exam's at 2 p.m. I'll definitely get a call at 10 a.m. 10:30, and somebody will say, "Sir, I'm not able to remember one thing. I think I'm going to fail." I'll tell you something. One of students, our top students, is. I'll tell you the mark later. Okay.
Okay.
She called me on the exam day 10:30 a.m. and she started crying. And she's not able to recall anything.
Okay.
Okay. But after the exam, she told me she did decently.
Well.
Okay. How does that happen? Okay. Everything is little bit of science here. Okay. It's simple. The memory has it's stored in the subconscious. Okay. So when you are put in that spot and you are presented that question, you'll be able to recall it. Just because you've lived 20 years, you cannot remember everything, or everything will not be like in your short-term memory.
Correct.
Fair. Right? What
Fair.
recency and based on context. Okay, so when you are given that question, in that moment you will recall.
Correct.
If you had studied it properly, in that moment when you are facing that question, you will automatically recall. Some students say, "I've studied this, but I'm not able to like recall more than one point. So I'm going to skip that question." This is a common mistake. They take up another question where they know 2 points, or something that they've studied very well and they only know 1 point. What I say is, take some rough area in the exam paper, start writing with that 1 point. You'll get another point at least. Okay. Start thinking, start giving it space to think. You'll automatically be able to recollect. Okay. So trust your subconscious, trust your preparation and trust your subconscious. You'll be able to automatically recollect. And coming back to the story, guess how much she scored actually?
In like she got an exemption?
73.
Oh my god.
She was crying on the day of exam that she was not able to recollect. So it's human for you to. This is the normal process.
Correct.
Nowadays, when I get calls on auditing, so you're not able to recall. That's why you call me, right? Sir, how did you guess? It's not like the first time. It's not my first video as well, right? So that's how things happen, and just trust your preparation. Go for it.
Okay. Do students actually have to memorize the essay numbers along with their entire title, or is that like just a myth?
For important essays, right? You'll eventually memorize it. Okay. For essay 500 is audit evidence. Okay. Essay 580 is going concern. Where the problem arises is essay 315. Okay. I'll also tell you something. Essay 200. It's a very lengthy title. So I'll tell you what I have a thumb rule is you don't have to memorize all the essay numbers names.
Okay.
Okay. As per provisions of essay 200, probably just write that. Okay. But you'll not get brownie points, but it's not necessary to remember all the essay numbers. But it's a very good signaling value. It has signaling value. It does not have step marks. Make no mistake. It has signaling value.
Okay.
Signaling value that you've written the provision. It does not have step marks. Just because you wrote the essay number or you didn't write the essay number, you're not going to lose marks or gain marks.
Okay.
But it has signaling value. When you've written the provision as it is, when you have an essay number accompanying it, it'll be a very good value add. Okay. You can remember most of the essay numbers, which are like small. Okay. But the ones that are very big, right? That's going to take a while. Okay. And I'm not going to be very particular about remembering essay names. As long as you have the provisions, I think it's okay. So what I would say is as per provisions, something like as per standards on auditing. Okay. You can write the provisions. As long as you have the provisions, I don't think it really matters.
Okay.
Unless we are trying for a 90 out of 100. But for 50 to 60, I don't think it matters.
Okay.
I did not write most of the essay numbers. I scored 62 in intermediate audit. Simple as that.
Okay. What would you tell a student who comes to you and says that, sir, I'm weak in theory. I will compensate for aggregate in practical, sir. I just want to clear audit. What would you say to that student?
When you are in intermediate, we are specifically talking about CA intermediate auditing, right?
Yeah.
When you are in intermediate, you have all the way up, you are only going to be focused on theory. Theory is like 50% or 60% of your syllabus. Take your advanced accounts, you have AS to remember and write. Law is completely provisions. Even though you have to remember it conceptually, understand and write the case, You have to remember the provision for you to get the mark. Okay. And when it comes to tax, you have to remember the principles at least, right?
Correct.
And identity is full of
Fully.
things that you have to memorize and
Yeah.
do stuff, right?
Mm.
There is no escaping from theory. Okay. The people who told you that CA, if you are good in maths, you will score well,
You'll be
and CA scammed you. Okay. Wake up to reality and understand that CA is 50% theory and you have no way out. So I would say two things here. Put it three. Okay. First thing, remove that belief or identity that I am a some guy. Okay. I know people who are like CA puts you on the spot or puts you in positions where you have to like reinvent yourself, right? I know
Correct.
people who scored 80s in intermediate practical papers and ended up relying on audit for final. Okay. Or for group 2 even.
Okay.
The opposite can happen. If you just rely on one paper, let's just put a scenario out there. There are 3 papers. Okay. One paper is definitely going to be a very hard paper. Of the 3.
Yeah.
There is no denying that. Okay.
For sure.
What if that was some and you are only able to score 50? And what if audit is like an easy paper and you are only prepared enough to score 40? And where do you beg for aggregate?
It happened in the Jan 26 attempts.
So there is no way going on. So first thing, remove that self-identity. You are good in CA. There is no theory, there is no sum. Treat everything equally. Okay.
Okay.
Number 2, if you are not able to memorize, just start writing the book.
Okay.
Since I had to like unlearn the CBSE
methodology,
I had to not memorize and stuff, right? What I did was I started writing. The first time that I studied auditing, I did not try to memorize it very hard. What I tried to do was I started writing. I just bought one book and I almost wrote the ICAI study material in that book. I did not take notes. Make no mistake. I did not take notes. I wrote it as it is in the study material. Okay. So somehow that I get the book language. I try to remember the keywords at least. Okay, the green ones at least. Okay, and that way I'm able to do this. I told this method of writing and like you can do either ways. You can just see and write. Like open the book and write, or you can close the book and write. Okay, for at least one point. Like for every point, study it and close the book and write. You can do both. Okay, you just write. You'll be able to recall something or the other. This is what I told my friend, the student. I think for Jan, even for Jan, one of the students they said the same thing. Okay, I'm a sums guy. It's really bad that they're taking identity, but I have to help them unlearn this, right? I told them you start writing. Okay, if you can't recite, if you can't recall, right, you start writing. This will at least solve the first problem. Then third thing, don't rely too much on like try to don't rely on like remembering the entire book. Okay. The core lessons, try to remember it as much as possible. Okay. And for the non-core lessons are like the ones that are not so important, right? Try to remember it like lesser than it. Focus more on few lessons. Selective specialization, then entire generalization. Again, the Bruce Lee quote. Okay. 1,000 kicks one time. Sorry, one kick 1,000 times.
Okay, but a student comes to you and says that, sir, studying just 20 pages in an audit book takes like 4 hours of time. But, you know, when I go through sums, it feels faster somehow. Yeah. So, what would you say to that student?
I'll tell you why it takes a lot of time to read just 20 pages. Okay. It takes 20 for 20 pages. It'll, like if you're studying alone, it'll easily take 6 hours. 6 hours. You'll spend for just 20 pages.
Correct.
And 20 pages is not even 20% of the lesson for bigger chapters, right?
Correct.
So it'll take you 5 days for just one small
lesson.
chapter.
Yeah.
Sorry, not one small chapter, one important chapter. I had to put it that way. That is because there is no loop here. Loop of completion. For some, you complete something. Of course, for theory, you will complete, but you do it continuously, right? You are supposed to lose that concentration and go into daydreaming. There is no active learning. This is exactly why we started Focus as well, right? With you would have seen students say that whatever took 9 hours individually took only 3 to 4 hours, right?
Correct.
That is because you sit with a tutor. At Focus, right? You sit with a tutor. There are only 10 students. You study topic by topic. And after you study the topic in that class, you recite immediately. So the tutor teaches the topic. You take 10 minutes to study. And after that 10 minutes, you recite the topic. When you do this, you will be able to study faster. There is this competition. There is this feedback loop. This is called feedback loop.
Hmm.
You know whether you studied it or not.
Okay.
If you made mistake, you will study again and recite it.
Hmm.
When you do this, okay, in focus, this is how we solved it. This is exactly the reason focus exists, and that's why we are able to score, give students this much high marks. Okay.
Okay.
But when you're doing it alone, just get a friend.
Okay.
But the problem with the friend is there are a lot of distractions, right?
Correct.
This is how focus works. And if you are interested in joining for auditing, CA intermediate auditing, we have a audit pro batch where you will sit with a tutor and study the entire syllabus. You'll study. You'll just not just be learning. It's not a recorded class. It's a personalized class where there are only 10 students and you'll have one tutor who will study help you study the entire study material in the class duration. So in the class duration 90 hours, you'll be able to complete the entire study material. Okay.
Okay.
Students who have done this have scored 70s
Yeah,
and 80s,
70s
like
and
I have already said.
Yeah. Okay. Does handwriting really matter when
You asked the wrong person, or the right person probably. Okay, this feels personal, but
no?
no.
But I have come across this query by many students. They say that my presentation is entirely dependent upon my handwriting, and I'm not very good at my handwriting is not very good. It's barely legible. So, is that an issue why I'm losing marks? And this is more common than you think.
Yeah.
So that is why I wanted to know your perspective on this.
So you're blaming the wrong person. That's when you're looking to blame handwriting. I'd say you're blaming on the wrong person. Presentation is not handwriting.
Okay.
Presentation is different.
Hmm.
Presentation is writing provision, case, conclusion.
Hmm.
Handwriting is just how you write it.
Hmm.
If you write the right answer in the wrong, like very bad handwriting, and people can identify the keywords, right?
Yeah.
You'll get marks. But if you write the wrong answer in a beautiful handwriting, you'll still not get any marks. Okay.
Okay.
I'll just give for people who have not seen my handwriting and why I've laughed. I have a very bad handwriting. My teachers, I've gone to 3 to 4 handwriting classes and dropped off. Okay, most of the times, like for almost all the time.
Okay.
My mother has failed in a lot of things in her life, but probably her biggest failure would be not fixing my handwriting. Okay, she just gave up on it. Like it was hard to fix. I even me and one of my friend tried to get into handwriting class for 12th standard.
Okay.
While we were in 12th standard and I wanted to score a very good 12th standard marks, I was thinking like handwriting is going to be an issue, and I thought of enrolling in a handwriting class 3 months before the board exam. But I scored 62 in auditing. This is simple proof that a person with a bad handwriting as me will be able to score marks. But that does not mean you can scribble or do whatever you like. Okay, I have few basic things. Leave good space. I'm not saying between words. Between words, it will come naturally. Try to leave little gap. But if your handwriting is big, leave a line gap. So even if you're writing in para, leave lines. You don't have to. It will look a little bit different, but your handwriting it will be better to correct. He's correcting 100 papers. You have to give him that thing. Okay, even if you have a bad handwriting, leave gaps. Leave one line gap. I did that. Okay, and I was able to score. Okay, leave gaps. That is one thing. Okay, the number 2 thing is don't strike off. That is like having a bad handwriting is different. Striking off is different. Striking off means you're confused and you're not clear. Okay, bad handwriting I cannot equate to anything. Probably a genius, but yeah, bad handwriting is different. Don't strike off lot. That is one thing. And I would say write the right answer. There is no way handwriting is going to stop you.
Correct.
Do these kind of small hacks like spacing and not striking off. That is going to get you.
Also, starting a new question in a new page.
Yeah, exactly that. That is going to save you marks. Handwriting, just blaming on handwriting, right? That's just lazy excuses of not studying properly.
Handwriting be like, what did I do, bro?
Yeah, it's literally not relevant to. I know people. I know someone. She's a faculty at Focus for Law. She scored 81 in law. She's also a CS.
Okay.
But her handwriting is crap. Something that I thought was worse than mine. But she scored 81 in law.
Okay.
I cannot give you enough proofs that to like tell you that handwriting means it.
Okay. Okay, it's the okay. It's the last month before the exam.
Yeah.
The student has not touched audit yet.
Okay.
Is because this happens very often.
Almost
They
all
all
the time.
exactly. So strategy for that student. 30
Okay.
days only.
Okay. Don't focus on every chapter.
Okay.
Don't focus on every concept.
Hmm.
Pick your battles wisely.
Okay.
Take up chapters like chapter 2, chapter 6.
Hmm.
Definitely take chapter 4 and 7.
Hmm.
Okay, 2, 6, 4, 7, 8.
Hmm.
5 chapters, half the syllabus. Do this properly.
Hmm.
Do this with full dedication.
Hmm.
You'll be able to score good marks. You'll be able to pass.
Hmm.
Okay, the rest of the chapters, what are we left? One.
One.
One is an easy chapter. Okay, it just barely takes time, but focus on these 5 chapters first. Okay, in 3, just focus on digital audit, and the front essay part is only 15 pages, and digital audit is another 15 pages. Focus on this, like on order 2, 6, 4, 7, 8. Okay, then 11, then the essay part in chapter 3. Okay, then the digital audit part in chapter 3. Then go to
10.
10. Yeah, 10 is obvious. In 9, go to cooperative societies. Okay, then go to chapter 5, just read through. Then take up the rest of 9 and then go to 1.
Okay.
This is like the order, but in the order you cannot do everything.
Everything.
Okay, just go in this order till whatever extent you can push, do it. If you go past 8, you have a good shot at
Passing the exam.
passing the exam. Just getting 40. I'm not saying you'll surely get 40. Don't like pick this up and say, hey, your expected question, your 3/4 strategies, putting us up and don't bring up a fight. This is like a good way to try for a 40.
Okay.
Chances are you're going to get that 40 with this 5 lessons. And hey, this 5 lessons is going to take up so much time.
Correct.
Okay. It's like
30 days is barely scratching the surface of these 5 lessons.
Yeah. But since it's near, you don't have time for revision.
You don't have a
And
choice.
you don't need revision. Okay.
Correct.
Since it's very recent. And if you study these 5 chapters, also make sure in the 1.5 days, you take up just these 5 chapters first. Okay. At least until the day of exam. Take up just these 5 chapters first and complete those. Then get to the rest.
Okay.
At least read through or have some basic knowledge of the rest. Don't skip or like don't not know what is that lesson itself.
Okay. Every exam has 30 marks MCQs right now integrated into it thanks to ICAI. How would you now? We also have a tool called caguru.ai, which is an MCQ chatbot basically, which generates MCQs. How would you advise a student to make use of such a tool in their preparation, and how much do you think like those 30 marks can play how integral of a role do you think that those 30 marks can play in a student's aggregate or in passing the subject itself?
Simple. Scoring 12 out of 30 and 18 out of 30 can just mean that you scoring 40 and just 47 or even failing. That's 6 marks in MCQ, which is barely 3 questions or 4 or 5 questions. Okay, can actually like make
it or break it.
Yeah, but there is this problem here. So if I want to score high in MCQs, do I practice MCQs or do I actually study the part where the MCQs are from? You have to do both. It's as simple as that. You have to first have a strong foundation in the concepts, but you have to start solving a lot of MCQs as well.
Okay.
We made this tool simply because that you have to solve MCQs faster.
Okay.
The more MCQs you solve, it'll also be a revision first thing, and you'll know where it is right and wrong. So based on ICA's past exam papers, MCQs that they've released, and case study booklets, we've built this tool completely to help you solve MCQs on WhatsApp. You just have to send MCQ to this number and you can start solving MCQs right immediately. This is the sole intention of why we did this. Students solve easily 40 questions in just like while eating. You can do it passively, right? You don't have to. My suggestion is don't do active studying for MCQs. Okay, do it passively when you're eating, while you're traveling. Okay, while you're waiting somewhere. Do this passively, but do this consistently. Students maintain streak in our chatbot.
Oh.
Okay. This just helps that. I'm not going to recommend spending specific time to do MCQs. The reason why we built this tool itself is to do passive
study,
and that is enough.
Passive but sincere.
Yeah, You have to get it right. Simple.
You cannot just simply click an option and
Instead of watching reels while eating, just solve some MCQs. It's as simple as that.
exactly. Now I've made the mistake. I have gone down the hill and I've failed this attempt.
Okay.
I am on a path correction. I'm on the path to correction. What should I do first? Like to evaluate my position, like what I wrote in the exam. What should I do first?
Okay.
And how should I evaluate those areas? And how do I correct myself?
Okay. There are two things to this question. Number one thing, be very honest with yourself of your past preparation. Like, did you remember or like memorize, put an effort to memorize the keywords? Did you do any writing practice? Did you solve questions? And people will say yes. They would have done passively for few lessons. Did you do this for majority of the lessons? And did you repeat this? Be honest with, take like a report card. Just do a performance report of your previous preparation, like preparation for the previous year. Do that. That will give you a first like clear thing. And if you still think you deserve to score higher than what you actually scored, apply for RTA. Even if you don't think you deserve, just apply to see where you went wrong. Sometimes you thought you would have scored 5 out of 5 in this question. Sometimes you would have thought like 1 out of 5 in another question. It could just be the
mismatch.
opposite. Okay. And sometimes you thought you would have got grace marks even. There are scenes where students have got 9 marks, grace marks in auditing. Okay, there have been attempts too. Okay. So apply for RTA. Do this performance report. But before that, apply for the RTA. The moment your results are out, apply for the RTA. Okay, it's simple, and we have done a video. I'll attach the link to that video as well. Okay. Apply the RTA through that. Then you will get the RTA. Now that ICAI have like pushed and advanced stuff, you will get the RTA in 10 to 15 days from the results. Okay. And do two things. Either of the two things. One, evaluate yourself and give it. Basically, you're giving it to the most biased person. Okay, that is you, that you will not be able to like crucify yourself, right? Or to give it to an independent party to evaluate. If you need that, we are doing two things here. One is we are doing an RTA service. Okay, what we do is people give out their certificate copies. We analyze that, give you a performance report, and also we give you a video review of what mistakes you've done and how to correct it. Okay. All of this will be done by CA. And number two, okay, that's something that we are very happy to announce as well. Especially for Chennai students, we are doing an RTA day. For students who have given May 2026, you can get your RTAs reviewed by chartered accountants. Through this, you will know where you made mistakes and how you can correct it. Not just your mistakes, of others' mistakes as well. You don't have to learn just from your mistakes. You can learn from others' mistakes. Correct. We are doing a small event with just 100 students on August 2. Okay. So students who are given May 2026 and not confident can also start applying now, and for later use when students are watching it, we can do the review as well. Okay. What if I just take one RTA and review it right now? And yeah, that's actually a great idea. I'll tell you where the student has made mistakes and where they have scored good marks. Just a glimpse into what our RTA day will look like. This is a question. I want to make a point here. People don't read from the ICA study material. But if you read from the ICA study material and you're able to write it exactly as it is, you'll be able to score 5 out of 5. Okay. This answer is a testament to that. The simple question here is mention any 3 standards issued under authority of ICA Council. Okay. People, the moment they see this question, they'll run. Basically, this is like the areas that you will not touch. This is not a essay question. Okay. It's just asking the standards that ICA has issued. Okay. But the student that has given the paper, right, she has written literally from the ICA statement as it is. Okay. She scored 5 out of 5. Okay. Standards on auditing, standards on review engagement, SRE, and you can see the paper clearly. She's written what is the standard for, and also given an example of a standard, which is SA 200. Okay, make no mistake, she's even written the SA 200's entire title as it is. Okay. And her handwriting is okay, but she's given a lot of spacing.
Mm.
Okay, that has made a significant improvement. She's done for every essay. Okay,
Mm.
she's given that, and she's gone above and beyond, and also wrote about the purpose of these standards.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
which was not asked, if I'm not wrong. Okay, also mention the purpose of the standards. The standards, she's supposed to mention the standard and get 3 marks,
Mm.
and she's supposed to mention the purpose of those standards and
Okay.
get 2 marks. She's got 5 out of 5 in this question just
Oh.
by writing the entire study material.
Mm.
Okay, I'll take another question here.
Okay.
It's from essay 299.
Mm.
It's a very simple question.
Mm.
She's written division advantages of joint audit.
Okay.
Okay, division of work is one advantage.
Mm.
There is this advantage in the book,
Mm.
but it's not a keyword, unfortunately. Okay.
Okay.
So question 5A, yeah, it's not a keyword. Okay. Lower workload is a keyword here.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
Sharing of expertise, similar thing.
Mm.
Division of work is lower workload,
Sharing
right?
of workload.
But she's got 0 marks
Okay.
because it's not the
Keyword.
keyword. As simple as that.
Okay.
The next time she changed the stuff and started remembering keywords for everything. And
Okay.
see, the same person who remembered keywords
Mm.
did not do it for another question,
Mm.
but she corrected and did for the entire syllabus, and she scored a 60 in this.
Do you think that creates an impression in the examiner's mind?
Definitely. Definitely. I also have a point to make here. The first 4 questions that you write,
Mm.
make sure that is your best
Best.
answers,
Mm.
because it kind of sets a
Tone for the
tone
entire
for the
paper.
entire paper. For yourself to write, it will give you confidence in the flow,
Mm.
and for the examiner to correct.
Exactly.
Okay,
Mm.
so the first 4 questions that you write, give it your best.
Okay. Okay. We'll just wrap up with one last question. What is the one thing that you'll say to a student to entirely shift his or her mindset about approaching audit?
Don't look it as a very tough paper. It is actually the easiest paper.
Okay.
If you like crack the audit formula and you take up some kind of tutoring or studying with somebody, tutoring you could do with us or somebody who's like a good enough person, just reciting and doing stuff, right? If you just do this framework, and it'll take you less than 90 hours to do this for the entire audit subject, you'll be able to confidently pass with 50 marks. It's just the process that
Okay.
is lacking. The paper is not very difficult. Your preparation is weak.
Okay.
Don't confuse your preparation and the paper. And there is a certain uncertain, it is
Uncertainty.
ambiguous. Okay. Whether you will score 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, only the examiner knows. Dependent. But you will score 3 or 4 if you write the keyword. You will not score 0 or 4. It's 3 or 4. It's not 0 or 4. It's not that uncertain. It is uncertain. 3 or 4. It's not 0 and 4. So they don't look it like a very difficult paper. Don't villainize audit.
Okay.
Take up auditing and look it from a process point of view.
You'll be able to give reasonable assurance that you'll
Yeah,
get 3 or 4
exactly. Coming again to the audit definition, giving reasonable assurance that
assurance.
the financial statements are free from material misstatement, and it gives a true and fair. It's as simple as that, right?
Yes. Thank you, Venkat sir, for this amazing, insightful session for how to approach auditing like a pro. And we'll be back next time with more complex topics with Venkat sir and learn how to master them like a pro. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.